Yeah, welcome back, guys. The third race that we've done this week. We're redoing stage 4 of Zwift Unlocked. This will be the first race that you see because we've been having a nightmare with recordings, so hopefully this one goes to plan. I don't think we're going to get much busier than this. When I was looking at the companion app before, it'd say that there were only, I think it was 20 people registered, but 3 in my category, which is category E. My racing score is 204 and the limit of category E is 210. I'm right at the top, right about to go into D. So hopefully that'll happen at the end of this race. Let's see what we can do. Thinking about getting some aero bars. I can get low like this. Let's say I've done this race once before. It was the first time I've raced in. Might even have been my very first race actually. First video was of this race, so I think that took me bang on 39 minutes. So that was 3 weeks ago. Let's see what improvements we can make on that time.
So here we go, the race has started. As I said in the intro there, I had some nightmares recording my previous races. So there's quite a lot of stuff that's sort of happened over the last couple of weeks that I haven't been able to sort of show. So my racing score at the end of the last video I think was 186. It's then gone up to 199 and then to 204. And I'm hoping at the end of this race to get another little bump as well. We have actually had our first Zwift Podium. Came second in a race earlier in the week, and on top of that as well had a nice little FTP bump from 183 to 188. So this race has started. I've managed to stick with the front group for now, and I was looking at the riders involved and my Zwift racing score compared to the category limits, and I was actually hoping to do quite well in this race. The category limit was 210 at the start of this race, and my racing score at that time was 205. So sticking with the front group here, we're just making our way up this little climb. You'll start to see over the course of this climb, it strings the field out quite a lot, so start to sort of form a line rather than a group. And this actually formed the sort of first real challenge that I've had in a race, because I do end up in a second getting dropped and a group forms above and I'm off the back. But I have been doing the work. I've been doing a lot of zone 2 rides, I've been doing a lot of workouts, I've been doing a lot of racing as well. So when I first started racing, at this point in a race I'd probably sort of say, do you know what, I'm just going to let them go and I'm just going to settle for whatever places I can get. But I thought, no, I'll stick with this guy, is it Rodriguez? I'll stick with Rodriguez and we'll see what we can do, and hopefully we can start to bridge the gap. So at the moment I'm holding 240-ish watts. We've already seen my FTP at the start of this race, so it's holding way above FTP. I'm just putting in a bit of a serious effort to try and catch the front, just to sort of as a measure of where my fitness is currently at. Okay, and spoiler alert, I do end up catching back up to the group, but things get worse before they get better, because Rodriguez actually manages to bridge the gap back to the leaders and leaves me behind. So going down this little decline here, I really start to put the power down, and at this point I'm getting worried because I'm thinking, am I burning too many matches now and not going to have enough for later on in the race when we get towards the end and things start to get a bit more strung out, and when I'm really going to need that power, am I going to end up paying for this sort of burst of energy and not have enough left towards the end? And at this point I'm up out the saddle and I just think it's now or never. I'm either going to catch them or I'm just going to let them get away. So I put the power down and managed to catch up to them. and then sort of go into recovery mode for a little bit, because I've got to really try and bring my heart rate down. 160 is a little bit high to be at this stage in the race. So I've managed to catch back up and now go into recovery mode. So pop my drafting boost, so I know that I'm going to have a little bit less effort to do just over the next 30 seconds or so, just so I can get my breathing back under control, take some water on board and get ready for the next push. Then we have 2 people go off the front just before we go into the subway. 2 people make a move off the front. I'm still kind of recovering from that blast to get back into the group, so I'll just decide I'm going to let them go. And I know there's 2 climbs coming up, so we'll see what happens. But then as we move through the subway, their attacks don't really stick and we manage to all bridge back up together. So wasn't really worth it on their part, and in my mind I'm thinking that's good for me because they've burned some matches, and I can just keep going at my nice pace and still recovering, because I know that escalator climb out the end is going to come soon.
Yeah.
So we get to the escalator, I stand up out the saddle, just put a burst of power down, and a few of the others do the same thing. But I think there's 6 or 7 riders in our group, and I've shot to the front there with 3 or 4 of them. And in my mind, that then says to me, can these riders hold the power? Because we've got to finish this race with a climb out of the escalator. So is that second escalator climb somewhere that I can maybe do a bit of climbing to my advantage? So then we start our descent right before the Brooklyn Bridge KOM. I remember the first time I did this race, this climb really caught me by surprise. I didn't realise just how long and tedious it was. So I decide I'm just going to go up the climb at my own pace. Whatever happens here, we've already got strung out once before with that first little climb at the beginning, but whatever happens here, I'm just going to stick to my own climb because I'm a little bit more experienced with riding now. I know what power is going to be good for me, and what happens is we end up getting a bit strung out, and I end up getting dropped by the leaders a little bit further up than this. So here we start to spread out a little bit, but as we go further up the climb we get more and more spread out until it's just me and Jones in front, although then he tucks in behind and I just go, and we can see my times there. My original time up this climb was 5:41, and when I'd done it the day before I'd managed to go up in 4:33, so over a minute off there in sort of 3 weeks of riding. I think that's pretty good, but we keep going. I'm just spinning a little bit above FTP, so I managed to hold this power, so I'm pretty proud of that. Pop my aero boost just before we go through to give myself another power up, get another aero boost. Me and Jones take the descent. At this point he's just sort of sticking on my wheel and not really doing a turn at the front, although he is at the front in this clip that you can see now. But to be fair to him, that's just karma for me, because I've done that a lot in the races that I've taken part in that we haven't seen on the channel. I've been sticking into the group but not really pulling on the front because it's taking all of my energy just to stay with those riders. But we come along to the second climb. I think this is the Manhattan Bridge climb. This one's not as bad as the Brooklyn Bridge. It's not as long, it's not as steep, but we start making our way up. You can see the riders just there ahead of us, but at this point sitting in fourth, there's 3 riders ahead of me, and we're getting to the point in the race now where I'm just thinking, do you know what, I've just got to manage my power to make sure I get to the end and stay competitive, because at this point my goal is to finish in the top 5. But we keep going. I popped my aero boost just before the banner to get another one. Again, I got a drafting boost, but Jones, who I'm riding with, he popped his after the banner, so I know at this point he hasn't got a power up, so that's playing in my mind here. So we come around, this nice little flat bit before going into the subway. And so we make our way into the subway. Again, we can just about see riders ahead of us. We've got Williams and Rodriguez. And as we make our way further and further through this subway, they actually start to get closer and closer, and start to get a little bit excited, because I know that we've been through a subway before. I know I was quite strong on the climb out, and the other riders around me seem to be not quite as strong, a little bit weaker. But we slowly start to close the gap between that second and third place rider. And when we catch him, what I want to do is just to go straight past, go from fourth into second, and start to open up a little gap behind them. But that doesn't really happen. They manage to tag along with us, and then we hit the escalator again, up out the saddle, 420 watts, and then trying to put a little burst in to try and again spread out the pack. But to be fair to the guys around me, they are holding their own at this point. But we now get towards the end. We've got another little climb here. This is where we sort of spread out on the at the beginning of the race, but everyone is staying together. We've got Fred Silveroo, who is 1.5 minutes up the road. He's pretty much guaranteed first place at this point, so that is gone. But within this group of 4 riders now, we've got from second place to 5th place. So I'm really hoping at this point to, rather than finish 4th or 5th, to finish 2nd or 3rd and get a podium place. But unlike my previous podium that was only on Zwift Power, this would be a podium finish, so as in like first across the line. So with that in mind and 3k to go, I pop my draft boost. Again, just trying to bring my heart rate down, because I'm sitting at 175 at the moment. Trying to put a little recovery in, because I'm not the world's greatest sprinter. So rather than sprint in the last 200 metres, what I've decided to do at this point is, with about 1 kilometre to go, I'm gonna just go for it and just put down the maximum power that I think I can sustain for 1 kilometre, and then just see what happens, because I know that I'll get beaten in an out sprint. So that's what we have here. I'm just gonna let this last kilometre play out and see where we finish. So there we have it, 3rd place. I was really hanging on for that second, but it just didn't work. I just couldn't hold it, and to be fair to D. Williams, he finished really strong, so well played to him. But yeah, first podium finish across the line, as well as on Zwift Power, so made up for that. I did the first of that race, the first time I did that race, I did it in 39 dead. And now to do it in 35, 33, I've knocked about 3.5 minutes off my time, so I think that shows how far I've come in a short space of time. When I had a little look on Zwift Power again at the end, my racing score has jumped from 205 to 212, so officially there is no way that I can be ranked in category E anymore, regardless of how Zwift do that, so that was also another little bonus. First across the line podium, absolutely buzzing. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.